Bună ziua! Bine v-am găsit la un nou episod al podcastului din cadrul Academiei Viitorul Cluj. Invitatul de astăzi este antrenorul de la Liga 3-a, pe numele lui Bruno Guima și Pino Azevedo, pe scurt Bruno Guima. Pentru început poți să faci o scurtă descriere a omului Bruno Guima, a carierei tale de fotbalist. Știu că ai avut meciuri în cupele europene, 250 de meciuri pe parcursul carierei, 60 de goluri marcate, așa? Ne poți povesti?
Așa, cred că I'm not sure if it's 100% correct, but I think if it's not, it's one more game or less
Almost
one game,
there.
one more goal or less one goal. But it was like that. It was a short career, but intense. Yes, it was a nice experience. I think I've been in almost all the leagues in Portugal, semi-amateur and professional also, and even in the foreign countries, the same. So I've been through it all. I started in semi-amateur and I finished in Champions League. So I think it's a complete career to have the chance and also to go through all the challenges, to overcome myself in all the challenges that I've been through.
Mediul în care te-ai simțit cel mai bine? Știu că ai evoluat și la MSK Zilina, nu? Am dreptate?
Yes.
Scalzina, cât și la noi, la CFR Cluj.
Aici.
Aici?
Aici, da, 100%. In Slovakia was my first experience also abroad from Portugal. And it was good to have that experience and to know other cultures. So
Exact.
it was very good for me to go there, to have the experience also to play for qualifying of Champions League. But the truth is that I wasn't 100% ready for that challenge. And I don't say it as a player, I say it as a man.
Uh-huh.
So it was good for me to go there, to have the challenge, to overcome myself. And when I came to Romania, I was better prepared. I was ready for the challenges.
Ok, și te referi din punct de vedere fizic sau mental?
Ambele. Physic and mental. Because in Portugal, we work physic, yes, but it's a different kind of football. We worry too much with tactic and with the ball. And when I went to Slovakia, was a little bit opposite. We worked a lot physic, a lot, and I wasn't used to it. So the first months for me were really hard. I had 2 sessions weekly for gym with all the team, for example. And in Portugal, we didn't do this. We went to gym, went to do extra by alone or following a program, but not with the team. So in Slovakia was a lot like this. So the first months was really hard for me from the point of view mentally and physic. And I think I wasn't prepared for that, especially physically, because it was really hard. And I got a injury, a muscular injury, near December.
Tot ai dus vorba despre asta, percepția ta legat de aceste aspecte de care vorbeai, de la nivel de copii și juniori mă refer aici, cum ar trebui parcurși acești pași? Cât mai mult cu minge, bine, aici mă refer de la 14-15 ani sus, sau cât mai mult fizic, să ne axăm?
Cu minge, 100%.
Cu minge, 100%.
Da, because
Ajută mai mult în dezvoltarea fiecăruia în parte, nu?
My personal opinion is that when you are a football player, you have to be a specialist in football. You are not preparing yourself for Olympic Games. You are preparing to become a football player. So as much as you work with ball, also physic is present when you work with ball. But if you work only physic, you're not working ball. So it's possible to work with ball, more with ball, and at the same time be working physic. But the opposite is not possible.
Înțeleg. Perioada cât ai stat la CFR, cum ți s-a părut? Adică mi-ai zis, te-ai simțit ca și acasă, că te-ai simțit foarte bine.
Foarte bine.
Din punct de vedere fotbalistic?
Și de punct de vedere fotbalist. Am fost foarte fericit aici. And I'm speaking now in Romanian, but it's better for me to speak in English.
Okay.
No, because some words I don't understand yet, so it's better like this. I was very happy here in Cluj, like I am today again. So I think I found a team where I identified myself. I'm speaking about the players, staff, and coaching also. I was ready for the challenge, and we found a very hard period for CFR when I was here, because I catch the passage to insolvence. So it was really hard. But the team that we had and the staff and coaching was really good. So we overcome ourselves, and even without money, we were in December, we were in first place. So this means a lot about the character of the team and the spirit that we built here. So there was no chance I couldn't be happy with a spirit like this, a strong spirit and union in the team.
Cine ți era antrenor atunci? Mai ții minte pe?
I found the first one was Miriuța.
Miriuța?
Yes. And it was the hardest moment that we found, but it was the best moment in the team. We didn't have money, but Miriuța had the merit to build a good team. So I catch Miriuța, I catch Tony Conceição and Ferry Dican. And they were all very different, but they were all very good also, with different qualities. Some were better as men, some were better as a coach, but they were all very good.
Îmi poți spune diferența, bănuiesc e mare din punctul meu de vedere, dintre meciurile din Liga 1 sau din Liga din Slovacia și cele din Champions League?
Ok.
Adică nivelul la care sunt, intensitatea la care se desfășoară.
The biggest difference for Champions League is the intensity. Intensitate, yes. We played against I think Hapoel Kiryat Shmona in Israel, and there was a big difference between the games that we made in Slovakia, for example, in the Championship League, and against the Israel team. It was very different, very faster, too much intensity. The duels also, you really needed to be 100% ready to win the game and to win duels, for example.
Da, acest aspect se simte și pe parcursul campionatului, nu? Dacă ești angrenat și în competiții europene cum Europa League sau Champions League, ai dificultăți în meciurile din campionat, bănuiesc.
Yes.
Se acumulează oboseală fizică, psihică.
Also. That's why it's important also when you start to have also the luck to start good, because from the point of view, mentally, it helps you to win the tiredness. Te ajută să câștigă și obosit.
Da.
Oboseală?
Oboseală.
Yes.
Știu că sună o întrebare clișeu, dar crezi că puteai mai mult în cariera ta de fotbalist? Știu că ai avut parte de numeroase accidentări. Se putea mai mult?
Yes, I could a lot more. But the times, I know it's only been like 10 years difference between the time that I ended my career and the day of today. But when I was younger, we didn't have access to so much information like we have today. So there was not working for prevention injuries, for things like this. And today we have.
Și atunci nu se punea baza pe chestia asta?
No, we didn't work so much on prevention and things like this. So I got injured when I was young, with 22, 23 years old. A big injury with the cruciate ligament anterior and meniscus. And the truth is, because of this injury, I finished my career at 29.
How many surgeries do you have?
2 for left knee, 2 for right knee. And I lost many games because my last injury was on my my left knee, and I stayed 9 months minimum to get to play again.
Recuperare grea și de durată.
Yes, and it was supposed to finish my career because of that injury, because I reconstructed all my knee. But I overcome myself once again. I played, and in my first game I scored. I was happy, but the truth is that the damage was done already when I was younger. Not on this knee, but on my first injury. So as much as I wanted to play, the truth is that my last 2 years playing were really hard, was on sacrifice. Every day I took medicine to not feel pain. And every day before matches also, it was being too much, and also mentally I was getting frustrated because I wanted to do better and better, but my body was saying you cannot do anymore.
Nu te mai asculta.
Yes, and I had to listen to my body, because when I noticed that my pain was changing my styling of playing football, I said it's enough, because then my mental pain was bigger than my physical pain. So I couldn't do it anymore and I stopped. But yes, I could score more goals, but there is also one characteristic about me that who played with me knows and who coached me also knows, is that for me, I didn't care if I scored or not. I only cared if the team won.
You play for the team.
This was the most important. For example, the penalties that I suffered, if I scored all penalties, I would have more 30 or 40 goals. But I was never the first kicker for penalties. And also assists. I give you an example. Gregory Tade, when he played with me at Cefere, he became a goal getter at Cefere because we worked very well together and I worked a lot for him. So I believe in teamwork and I always work for the team, not for my success, but I believe also that my success would be a consequence of the team's success. And it was. I had the chance to also go to better clubs. I had the chance to go to Japan, for example, and sign the contract of my life. But I had the injury of my knee and if you don't do prevention, if you don't do extra beside the normal training and beside the pitch, you will increase the chance of having injuries. So it's really important. And now, if, for example, at Viitorul Cluj, we have really good physical coaches. Really good. So it would be a shame for the youngest players and to not take advantage of their knowledge and not to take it seriously, because this can make the difference between having a long career or a short career like I had.
Bruno, după ce ai terminat cariera de fotbalist profesionist, te-ai extat pe cea de antrenorat. Știu că ai fost coordonator tehnic la Vale Cambrese, în Portugalia, și antrenor. Ne poți povesti despre experiența ta în această nouă carieră și cum e fotbalul portughez, cu ce se diferențiază față de cel de la noi?
Yes, it's true. First of all, when I finished my career of as football coach, I was invited by a Portuguese celebrity, Cândido Costa, to be his A2 assistant manager as in female football senior. So I started like this, assistant manager in a female team senior, which was really good for me because when you play professional, it's not only football, it's also business. You know that you have to do all the things to get the money at the end of the month, for example. If you don't do good, you stay unemployed, you don't get money. If you want to win more money, you have to work more to be professional, 100%, to find new contracts and better contracts. That reality showed me the opposite. It showed me why I started playing football, because they didn't get any money, but they were professional. And I understood, and it reminded me of when I started playing football, because we all start playing football because of love.
Correct.
And during our journey, exactly. But somewhere between the journey of loving football and becoming a professional football player, sometimes you forget the love that you feel for the sport. And you start thinking with your head and less with emotions. And the female football there was only emotions. So it was a really love story for me because they showed me why I love football. And that's when I understood, okay, I want to become a football coach. And I knew then that I was in the right path, because I knew I love football, I love people, I understand the players, and I know I can be different from most of all the coaches that I had. Because in football, sometimes you have to forget the human side, and you forget the human side. You forget there is a human on the other side. There is a man or a woman. And you only think about performance, okay? But it's wrong. It's wrong. You will have a better player if you have a better man, and you have to take care of the man or the woman. When you think about the human being and you take the best of the human being, then you have a football player. And when you lose the person, you lose the football player. And the most coaches that I had, they thought a lot on the football player and not on the man.
Ai perfectă dreptate și asta lipsește jucătorului român, adică aici trebuie lucrat mult. pentru dezvoltarea părții sociale și dezvoltarea lui din punct de vedere a omului, practic.
Exactly. So after that, then I started my career as a solo coach per se. And then I became the first coach of that team. I also started with under-19 national competitions. And then slowly I became coach for seniors, also males. And then I was invited from Valkenbrens, where I stayed 3 years. And I was the senior coach. And at the second year there, the president invited me to become a technical coordinator. And I was coaching the senior team and also became technical coordinator. During that challenge, as you may understand, sometimes you have to coach kids with 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, 14 years old, 17, 19, doesn't matter. You are technical coordinator, so you have to know them all and you have to go through all the stages. So this happened to me also. So,
Deci ai lucrat și cu copilași.
Cel mai mic, da.
Da.
I was a coach for kids with 5, 6, 7 years old.
Și
And
cum ți s-a părut?
It was the best experience of my life. This is what, when I try to explain to coaches, if someone, when I was technical coordinator, today I'm not, but when I was, all the time I try to explain to them, do you think that if someone comes to me and asks me if you are a good coach, I will tell them that you are or not because you win or you lose? No. 100% no. You can lose all the games and be the best coach. And this was the hardest thing to try to explain to coaches, because first there is the club and the philosophy of the club, and then you have the players. And when you work in an academy, okay, some academies don't work like this, but there we worked. Results are not the most important, because the results are a consequence of the things you do before the match.
Exact.
Okay, so it's a long process. To when the players arrive at senior or under 19 or under 17, they must be ready to that challenge. So until then, the most important is not to win, it's to develop players.
E dezvoltarea lor și să ajungă la anumită vârstă în care să cunoască jocul, ca să poată face pasul spre fotbalul de performanță.
Exactly, but for the coaches to understand this, it's a big problem. It's very difficult. Why? Because we, coaches, all of us want to win. And to do this exercise mentally, to tell yourself, okay, I want to win, but I also have to teach. I also have to develop.
Ăla e cel mai important lucru.
Exactly. But most of the coaches are not ready for this reality. And they only think about their success. Not the club success, not the kids' success, their success. Because they think that if they win an under 19 game, maybe tomorrow they are coaching Real Madrid. But it's wrong. They will not be coaching Real Madrid tomorrow because they win the under 19 game or under 9. That is not the most important. It's a process. They will have the time to get there, but it's not today or tomorrow. It takes time.
Ok, și procesul ăsta e un proces de lungă durată.
Exactly.
În Portugalia, bănuiesc că nu se sară anumiți pași. Se merge pe o linie, pe o anumită linie, nu?
Yes,
Pentru că la noi mulți tind să sară anumiți pași. Aici intervine și problema părinților, că ei vor rezultate de la grupele de 90 ani. Iar mi se pare o prostie asta.
I understand you.
Și mulți susțin că e o prostie, dar fac exact invers.
I understand you very good, but it's not a problem only in Romania. In Portugal is also the same.
Ok. De asta te întrebam că nu...
I think it's a universal problem in football, because everybody is a coach, even parents and grandparents. Everybody knows about football, everybody knows more except the coach.
Politică și fotbal, toată lumea știe.
Exactly. So, the first thing we tried to do there was to educate parents. That is the first goal. Because when you educate parents, then maybe they will not have so much influence on the evolution of the son, of the kid. And then you also have to teach the kids that I am your coach, you have to listen to me, not to your parent. This is a job that we have to do. It's not a fun job or a nice job, but we also have to do it. But it's also depending on how the academy works. I give you one example. If you go to an academy like FC Porto, when you arrive at the academy, you stop. You don't go inside
As a parent?
Yes, you don't go inside. You arrive there at the gate and you stop. You don't go in. You don't see the training. You don't have the chance to speak with the coaches. You cannot do it. You stay outside and you don't see the training.
Ăsta e un model foarte bun.
Așa. And I think that, for example, where I was in Valkenbrens, I tried to do the same. That would be the perfect thing. They wouldn't go inside the recinct of the training, but they could see it on the tribune. But it was only that. They were forbidden also to speak with coaches. Forbidden. Nobody can speak with coaches. If you want to know something about your son, you speak with the director.
Directorul tehnic.
Așa. You don't speak with coaches. It's forbidden. Because the coach is there to coach, not to give explanations to parents. If you work with 25 kids and you have 50 parents and want to take explanations from you, you will give explanation to 50 parents.
Ok, și părinții s-au adaptat la chestia asta?
Sigur.
Deci s-au adaptat, n-au fost probleme din punctul ăsta de vedere.
The philosophy is like this. We work like this. If you don't like, go find another club where they work how you like. It has to be like this. And sometimes it's not nice to do this, but it's also the job for the directors to implement this kind of philosophy. Fiecare un are papier său. You understand? Everyone has his own paper or role. Okay? If you are coach, you coach inside the pitch. You don't need to speak to someone outside the pitch. If you are the director technique, okay, you have other things to do. Players have their own role and parents have their own role. Parent is a parent, not a coach. They should support, and that's only that. Support.
Deci, ca idee, cam peste tot trebuie lucrat la partea asta legată de părinți. Adică trebuie educați de la început ca să știe regulile, să știe ceea ce trebuie și pe ce se axează antrenorii la urma urmei pentru dezvoltarea copilului lor.
Yes, because I know you saw this. You saw this 100% here and in other places. How many kids that have potential, that are good players, have lost themselves during the journey of becoming a football player? A lot. And sometimes it's not because he doesn't have the talent or because if he's not good. Sometimes it's because mentally he feels lost. He doesn't have the support where he should have, and then he is making confusion. Like, who should I listen? My coach, my parents. Yes. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know who I am. This also happens because after they lose their identity, they don't know who should they listen. They don't know what to do because the coach has one thing, but the father or mother has another thing, and this is not a good way to develop players.
Da, pentru că intervin mulți factori. Odată ce un copil ajunge la 14-15 ani, aia e perioada critică. Sunt mulți care se lasă și din diferite aspecte. Ori nu fac față și școală și antrenamente, ori intervine altceva. Deci perioada în care foarte mulți se lasă.
Because the stability, you need to have stability to become a football player, right? And even to have good results at school. It's the same thing. If you don't have stability at home, will you find it in football? Okay, you can find it in football, but then you go home and it's unbalanced.
Păi da,
will affect somewhere, or in school or football.
Trebuie susținere maximă din partea părinților.
It starts there. It starts at their own place. Yes, education.
Education, exactly.
I know that, for example, in Portugal, most of the fathers or parents, they also think like this. But I pay for them to get trainings and to play football or to get education. But it's a little bit different. You don't pay for him to play. You pay for him to make training, to learn football. It's different, not to play, to learn football. And you don't pay me to educate your son. You pay the club to help educate your son. If you don't do your job at home, like if you don't do your job at the terrain, then something will miss. It's a very, very big team that should work together and not against each other. Parents do their job, players do their job, coaches do their job, and club do their job, and after we do this. If we don't do this, it will not work.
Spune-mi, te rog, cum te simți la noi, la Academie?
I feel very good. I'm very happy that I am here. It's being a challenge because some things work a little bit different from Portugal. So I'm also learning because it's a
Diferit din ce punct de vedere, scuze că te-am întrerupt?
For example, the in and out of players. Every week I have new players making training or probe, and then they go out, and to work it's different. It's difficult to if you want to implement a strategy or a system and you are always changing players, all the week you need to repeat the same training, same things to become a routine. So this is hard. In Portugal, we don't have this in and out of players so much. You have the base, you have the lot, maybe 2 can go out, or maybe 3 can go out or come in, but that's it. Here it's more coming in and out. It's a bigger rotation. It's also a challenge because we are now, the league starts in 31 of August, and we will have almost 2 months of pre-season. It's a little bit too much, 2 months of pre-season. And also other things that is different is, for example, after the first week of pre-season, when the second week starts, we make a lot of games, friendly games. It's like you play today, 3 days, and you are playing again. Or every 3 days you are playing.
Multe meciuri de pregătire.
Mulți meci. And here I didn't have so much. It's also not, in my personal opinion, it's also not so good to create routines and dynamics in the team. We must have more friendly games, as much as possible. Also, the language it's not a barriera, não é uma barriera, but it's also something that I'm learning to use on my favor to speak with the players and the staff, because...
Dar te înțeleg, jucătorii te înțeleg. Adică ceea ce le explici.
Eu vorbesc român și vorbesc engleză, dar român e mai greu pentru mine, că nu înțelegi tot și învaț. Am stat afară 8 ani și I don't know all the words yet. I'm learning again to remember also. But we understand each other. But sometimes there are, in football, when you are in training, some things are impulsive. You react on that moment. And sometimes I want to say the right word and to intervene in the right moment to correct something or to punish the player or to congratulate the player. And sometimes the word comes out in Portuguese, for example, because it's automatic.
Da, automat.
I want to say it, and they didn't understand in that moment. And I say, if I knew that word in that moment, it would be good. It's details, but also other thing that is a little bit different from Portuguese and Romanian, that I found it a little bit weird for me in the beginning, was that the work in the beginning was too much physic. Too much physic.
Too much physic?
Yes. For me, it was a little bit shocking. Now I understand why. In that moment, I didn't understand, but now I understand why.
Why?
Because it's related with this going in and out of players.
Okay.
So when you don't have a fixed lot,
O bază de jucători.
and you know that, okay, today if I work this today, I will have to work it next week again because this player goes, this player comes, and things like this. Okay, you compensate with physique, and then you start working the things that you should work with ball and tactically later. So this is also different. There we have more time to start working with tactic. We start working with ball in the first day, and here no. I think it's the biggest difference, and we find pleasure in working with ball there. Everything with ball.
With the ball.
Yes, we find it's pleasant also for the players because they find motivation, even if it's to fool them, to like you put the ball just to make fool of them. They think they will work with ball, but it's not. The ball is there just for them to think that it's there, but the most of exercise is without ball. But we always put the ball. Even if it's just for a pass,
Ideea să fie mingea lângă ei, să vadă mingea, să se simtă mai
like
confortabil.
Exactly. Like this, they think, okay, I'm running, but I have here the ball, I will touch the ball. But it's just touch and then you go again. But it's things like this. But we must understand that also that we are working here with young players. And it's also different. They are also developing their body. And when for example, I was coaching players with 34 years old, 30 years old, 28, 26, 24. They were already developed. So we must have this in consideration.
Jucători cu experiență.
Yes.
Experiență.
So we need to develop here physically, mentally, tactically, technically, everything. So I understand that there has to be a balance between all of these 4 components: technique, tactic, mentally, and physique. Technique and tactic is connected. For example, if you work just passing, it's only technique, okay? But when you work passing with a preluare orientat, example, okay? This is technico-tactic, because the way you control the ball and to where you want to take it, how you put your legs and your position and everything, this is technico-tactic. because the way you will receive the ball and to where you want to take it, it's connected with tactics. So we have the worry in Portugal to coach all these kind of things, to build a bridge between technique and tactic. Okay, because yes, it's important to work passing drills, for example, but it's important also to explain to them how can this help us to transform to the game. Okay, if you receive, for example, if you tell a right back, okay, you are making a passing drill, but you are making it in your zona. Every time you receive the ball, you have to make a preluare orientat like this. Why? Because when you receive the ball like this, you have 3 places where you can pass the ball. You can pass to the right, you can pass vertical, and you can pass left. And if you receive it like this, tactically, for our team, we can do this, for example. So this is, it's important also to explain this to the players, how technique is correlated with tactic. Okay, for example, I like a lot, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I will say. I like a lot to attract the opponent teams to one side, make possession, and when they arrive, I like to go out on the opposite side. Why? But I need to explain this to our midfielders and to my midfielders, that when we are playing on one side, and then we can connect them with them, their control has to be orientated to the opposite side. And this is tactic. Okay? So you are not just making possession and passing. You are making technique with tactic. Why? Because they need to understand that when we attract the opponent team to one side, we can connect inside. And if they make the control to the other side, orientated, then the space is in the other side. And football is only about space. It's nothing more than space. When you have the ball, you want to create space, and you have to find the space where you can go out from the pressure of the opponent. And when you don't have the ball, what you don't have the opponent to have is space. Because if they have space, they can play. So football is only about space.
Asta e cel mai important lucru pentru un jucător, să înțeleagă jocul fără minge.
This was my biggest challenge here at Viitorul Cluj. How can you win a game if you have the ball, you know to attack, for example, and where to be, but after when you don't have the ball, you are not in the right place. Football is not only about scoring goals. It's also about not letting the opponent to score goals. It's about defending. For example, Italians are very good on this. And what I found here is that we play, when I say we, at least at Viitorul Cluj, I found a team that we play mostly man-to-man. This is my man. If this guy don't have the ball, then I'm okay. It's wrong. Because in modern football, you don't play man-to-man. You play in zones. Okay? So if you take the space for that man, and especially, it's my opinion, maybe not all the coaches think like this, and I know they don't think like this, all of them, but for me, football is like, you have one thing that you have to protect. The goal. When you don't have the ball. So, when a player receives the ball in the middle, it's closer to the goal. When they receive in banda, they are far away from the goal. So we have to invite the opponent teams to play for banda and to close inside to protect the goal. And what I found here is that they didn't have these concerns. It's okay if the ball is in the middle, I'm on my zone, there with my man, it's okay. But for me, it's wrong.
Mi se pare, adică e foarte greu de antrenat, jocul fără minge, pentru jucătorul român, nu numai, pentru orice jucător, dar e greu de antrenat. Cel puțin dacă începi de la grupele de copii și juniori.
It's not so hard to coach this. I think that football with ball is harder to train than without ball. Because, for example, how I like to work my teams, it's all about keeping the distance. Okay? I know that you play 5 meters in front of me. So if you give one step ahead, I have to give one step ahead also, because I'm on your back, I'm watching you, I have to follow you. You go one step to the right. I know I have to keep the distance. So you go one step to the right, I go also one step to the right. We play as a block. Where one goes, everybody goes. Okay, this is how we work without the ball. It's not so hard. It's just they must understand the role of each one of them. Okay, maybe this one has to close a little bit down. Maybe this has to press a little bit higher. Maybe this can go a little bit more and this has to stay. It's only this, but this is details.
Pentru a ajuta echipa.
But it's only details. If they keep the distance and we are compact and together, then it's not so hard to work without the ball. But the dynamics with the ball, for me, it's harder because it needs a very good correlation between all the sectors and all the players. For example, to tell one player that the first one to decide the dynamic when you start building, for example, is the one who is closer to the ball. If this player decides to come here, then this has to make the opponent movement. Okay, and the last one that is there, for example, winger or striker, then he does the different movement from the other two. And for them to understand this, it takes time. Understand?
Aia, necesită timp.
Yes, this takes more time. Who makes the movement on the deep? Who comes to get the ball? When do they make changes? So for me, this is harder than without the ball. But it's the most beautiful thing also about the game. It's with the ball. So if they understand the game without the ball and after they can understand the game with the ball, you have a team. But this is not also related with technique, tactic, and physical or mental. It's with mental. The capacity of the player to understand the game. And if they can understand what you are asking. Because it's better to have, it's my opinion also, it's better to have a smart player, an intelligent player, than a good player. I prefer someone that is not so good technically and maybe doesn't run so much, but is smart. He knows where to be, when to be, how to do. Yes. For me, football, you play with a heart, but you win with a head, with brain.
Corect. Ziceai, unii înțeleg mai repede, alții durează
Yes.
timp, nu? Cu cei care au de lucru sau durează mai mult timp ca să perceapă chestiile astea, trebuie lucrat extra.
Exactly.
Nu?
Yes. That is why I also used to say something. It's like explain to the players and they will know. Involve the players and they will understand. So I think
Nice.
And I think the game, football, it's not about knowing, it's about understanding. So we need to involve the team and the staff, the players, everyone, to understand why we do this. Why, how, when. When they understand the game, then they will know everything. But just to know without understanding, it's not enough.
Mie îmi place percepția ta despre fotbal și noi te considerăm un câștig în cadrul Academiei. Nu numai eu, și cam toți cei care fac parte din Academie. Dar îți curios, spune-mi tu aturile tale. Care consider că sunt aturile tale pentru a ajuta la dezvoltarea Academiei noastre? Sigur ai, dar dacă poți să ne spui pe scurt.
How do you think that I will help to develop more the academy?
Our academy.
Okay. I'm a coach that I love tactic more than physic because I'm not a specialist about physic. I'm not. I understand, but I'm not a specialist. We have specialists for that, so it's their job. I don't put myself on that side. But for me, I believe that where I can make the difference, it's in the tactically and maybe in mentally. Because, as I told you in the beginning, first, tactically, okay? Game without ball and game with ball. Everything is about space. Everything, okay? When the player understands this, 50% of the job is done. Space. You want to have the ball, or you create space for yourself, or you move yourself to create space for others to show up, okay? And without ball is the opposite, okay? So tactical is about this. Of course, after there is details that you can work. But after is the mental part, which I believe we have space to improve in all the academy. And in my players, for example, I will speak about my team now that it's Liga 3. I think they are like this from becoming a promise, from being a promise to become a football player. And the biggest work that we have to do is, first, believe in ourselves, because they don't believe enough. They don't believe. They have the potential. They can do it, but they still don't believe enough. Because the difference between a player that is today in Liga 3 and tomorrow in Liga 1, for example, it's small. You have players in Liga 3 that could play in Liga 1 easily. The difference that most of the times they have, it's in mental. It's because it's easy to be a football player when things go very well. When you win, when you are winning a lot of money, when you are in a good team. That's not the hardest part. The hardest part is when it's hard, what do you do? Who are you? Will you give up? Will you work more? And this is what we need to teach them. That I will give you my example, as I said in the beginning. I've been through all the divisions. If I wasn't mentally strong, I wouldn't become a professional football player. There were better players than me, for sure. There were. I arrived at Chefere, I wasn't first option. And then I became first option. Why? Because I was really competitive. I wanted to learn. I watched every movement of the players that I played with and the opponents also. I wanted to learn. And I saw, I will take the best out of this one. I will take the best out of that one. And I will build myself. And if they do 10 sprints, I will do 11. This was my mentality. That's why I became professional football player. And what they don't understand today, because they are young, is that this is what will make them professional. Because the talent they have. So if they have the talent, why are not there? When the first trainings that I did here, I was amazed. Because we did like 30 minutes of game, 3-4 days after I arrived. And in 30 minutes, the score was 6-4. I was like, this is not normal. Because they create a lot of chances, and they score a lot of goals. But in 30 minutes to have 10 goals, I never saw this. For example, when I did a game in Portugal, even if it was with my team, 10 against 10, 9 against 9, it would be like 2-1, 2-2, 1-1, 1-0, sometimes 0-0. And here in 30 minutes, I am talking about 90 minutes. And here in 30 minutes, 10 goals. Because, why? Because of the work without the ball. It's good to play in transitions, for example. You are always in offensive transition and defensive transition, all the time like this. To score goals is very good, but to concede also. So it's where we need to improve. You cannot win if you concede a lot of goals. You can win if you score a lot, okay? But you can lose also if you concede a lot. So we need to find a balance between the moments of the game. For me, this is a real challenge. When to do offensive transition, when to do a defensive transition, when to play in organization. And these are the moments of the game that we need to understand better. Moments of the game. Make possession. You are tired, stay with the ball. Breathe with the ball. Don't attack. Invite the opponent team. They come, okay, we go. And we need to understand better the moments of the game.
Ok. Bruno, povestește-ne puțin despre familia ta. Știu că ai familie sportiv sau fost sportiv de performanță.
Yes. Okay. My father was a football player in Portuguese First League. He played at São Joanense, AD São Joanense. São Joanense was a First League team back then. Now it's not. It's in Liga 3. Mm-hmm. He was from there because my grandfather was also from that city. It's a city nearby my hometown. And my father was also, and became or was back then, also president of the club. So my father was a defender, left back, fundaș central.
No.
He played against Eusébio, for example. It's from his time.
Jucat împotriva lui?
Yes, yes. And he speaks marvelous things about Eusébio. So my father was a football player, and after he gave up because he went to military, to the army. No. He came back, he played one more year, but after he stopped. My grandfather was the president of that club for a few years. And also my uncles, from the part of my father, brothers of my father, they played hockey. And they were European champions also. As
European champions?
Yes. And they were on national team, Portuguese national team. I also have a cousin that was European champion, but on water, like jet ski, like.
Da.
So I have a family related to sports. All my life they were related
din
to
familie
sports.
de sportivi.
Even my grandfather of the part of my mother, he was connected to Feirense, a team where I made my youth formation, and I finished my career there also in First League. My grandfather was connected to them. He was a director. He made a lot of parties for the players at his home. So we are connected. But nowadays, my family, my brothers, my sister, they are more connected to music. So I have two brothers that are, one is like impresar for musical festivals, for bands, for singers. I have another brother that is a singer and was also number one in Portugal for many years.
Da?
Yes.
Nu știam.
And my sister is teacher of music for piano and violin. So it's changing. I think it's only me now. I'm in sports. The rest of my I also had a cousin that was in Portuguese national team for swimming.
Swimming?
Yes, for swimming. So we are related to sports, yes. But now at the present moment, I think my family is more related to music. But it's all related to arts.
Tu duci tradiția mai departe. În domeniul sportiv, mă refer. Continui munca de antrenorat.
Eu vreau să continu, da.
Bruno, când ai timp, te așteptăm cu mare drag și la antrenamentele copiilor, celor mici. Poți să vii să asisti la ele, să le spui 2-3 vorbe.
The next training I go. When you
când
want
ai
me
timp,
to go,
bineînțeles, știu că ești destul de ocupat.
no, I will find the time to go. It will be my pleasure also.
Ok, mulțumim. Bruno, îți mulțumim pentru că ai acceptat invitația noastră. A fost o plăcere să avem această discuție. Și sper să ne mai revedem la un nou podcast. Să ne mai destăinui din experiența avută pe parcursul carierei tale. Mulțumim și gazdelor noastre, cei de la Hotel Hampton by Hilton, pentru locația pusă la dispoziția noastră.